Hello, everybody, and welcome to PlagueCon. This is part two of PlagueCon 2022. Originally, it was only supposed to be every year, one PlagueCon per season, but because of the wait being so long between the first half and second half, I decided to do a PlagueCon to talk about it, even though the season returns. It'll come back on the 26th of September at 8 o'clock Mondays as normal. Welcome to PlagueCon 2022 Part 2 to discuss the second half. Right now, I'm joined by Rebel Tea Time, the actor of Samantha, actor of David.
Yo,
Joined by Dans Reviews and MegaMatt1254. Super fans, as I like to refer to them as, and was writers on the first half of the season, and so I figured we would invite them back. And plus, I knew they'd have questions that I feel like deserved to be answered here. Um, but we're hopefully later going to be joined by YellowishObject, who is the actor of Josh. Of course, I'm the actor of Anthony. I act out Jim now, and I act out a new character, but I don't want to touch on who it is yet. We'll see him in the trailer, but I have taken over as that character too, temporarily, probably for good. It's just hard to tell for now, but yeah, we'll touch on that later. But to get into the segment number two, which is the questions, we don't have a host for today. The host, sadly, last minute had to do some other things, so instead of necessarily me being asked questions and question here, question there. It's mostly going to be I'm going to ask a few questions for Rebel Tea Time, and then I'm going to take and I guess just discuss everything else to do with the second half. If no more YellowishObject joins in time, I'll ask him his questions. But if he don't, then I will be talking about everything to do with what his question was, and I'm going to give my version of an answer for it. So, no further ado to that. I got the questions right here in front of me. Rebel, I'm going to go ahead and ask you your first one. Um,
okay.
so, and again, all these questions, everybody knows, is what fans would more than likely be wondering is going to go on in the second half. No, I don't know everything that fans are wondering, but it's questions that come to mind of what would they probably think. And of course, Dan and Matt, I planned for them to be here, so I wasn't going to ask them their questions till they're here. But they'll answer their question. I will answer their questions later after the trailer that we view later on in the segments. We also will have a segment where Royal Xmc, who played Scott originally, brought life to the character. Um, he gave statements based off some questions he was asked to give him a proper send off from the series, as he won't be returning to the main series ever again. He is gone for good, and he won't ever touch the character no more. So there's a segment dedicated to that, and then at the end of PlagueCon, was only supposed to be one announcement, but there's going to be two, possibly three. Um, but without further ado, I'm going to go ahead and get into the questions. Rebel. Um,
Yep.
so, for Samantha, um, fans are excited that the second half is going to focus on her character and the development of her character. Um, because we've never mostly, as I remember, Cade Woody, who is also a super fan of this show for a long time, all the way back to when season one was airing. Um, I remember he referenced it as he was sensing some girl power for the second half. Um,
Right. Right.
you being the actor of Samantha, what kind of what do we need to expect from her while Anthony is gone? What should we expect from Samantha?
You know, a lot of emotional stress. You'll see a lot of that here in the second half. You know, She has to deal with the fact that Anthony is hidden somewhere by David, who is making her think she'll never see him again. So she has to deal with Scott being dead. She has to manage to keep her people safe while they are under the captivity of David and the altrist. She just got a lot on her plate here in the second half of the season.
Okay. Which I mean that is true, and we're going to touch on that here in a little bit too. Especially after we review the trailer because it features a lot to do with her, and there's just a lot of stuff with that character, and I want to touch on that a little bit, just a tiny bit. It's something the show's never done before. Yeah, the show's had storyline with her character, especially, but we're going to see characters like Doc. Doc is going to be a little bit more involved in this second half than the first half. This second half is going to focus more on women power and what, because we've always focused on what Scott, Anthony, Josh, people before them like John and let's see, it's hard to remember Blake, Jack, all of them. We focused on all these, guy characters before, but we never delved into the women stories. Um, and that's what we're going to touch on a little bit here in the second half is, and we're going to see, especially like you said, with Samantha, she's, we're going to see a little bit of what Anthony's taught her, really. So, but as I can see, it looks like Nomar has finally joined YellowishObject. Everybody welcome him.
What's up,
So
Yellow?
I'm going
Hello,
to,
hello. Sorry I was late. I was on a bit of a phone call. I got caught up in a phone call.
well, I got a question for you, Yellow. What should we expect from Josh in the second half?
Man, from his development so far, I want to say that we might see things from him that no one really would have expected from him.
I know that character, in specific, so far, is my favorite character working with this season. I mean, I'm kind of enjoying right now in the second half. I'm enjoying Jim a little bit, and we're going to see a lot of him. Yeah, we ain't going to talk a lot about him today, but there's a lot we're going to see with him. And but Josh's character is probably the best character I've worked on this season. And I love the fact, and I always think about it. If you think back to season 3, he was a coward, and then season 4, we've seen how he changed. But we're especially seeing his braveness here in the 5th season, and it's kind of got a little bit dangerous. To be honest, he's put himself in a situation, but we're going to see he's got over the sickness. I will go ahead and say that he has managed to get over that. He is going to mention it. And it, but with that, there's also going to be threats that make you think, is something worse going to happen because how he acts? And he's a defiant character, and we're going to see, more than anybody, Josh, we're going to see defiancy with his questioning of what they're going to live like now because they're all under capture. They can't get out. But anyways, I want to go back to you, Rebel, real fast.
Okay.
What about David? Um, what do we need to expect from David? Of all people, what do we expect from David?
As fans have seen in the first half, David is definitely a man of his word that makes him scary, unlike other villains with how crazy certain things is that he does. Expect triple of that here in the second half. There's not much I can say on what things he does, but he does go pretty far quite a few times. Uh, he's going to take major advantage of Samantha and her group not being able to break free from his grabs. And then episode 2 will feature a big threat, though. One that the group better tread lightly on, because again, as we've seen before, David doesn't bluff at the poker table. He's going all in with this one.
I like that quote there. Doesn't bluff at the poker table. Because honestly, it's the truth. We've seen it already with David. That whenever he threatened, he's like back in episode 2, if you remember, he had Scott at the gates and he threatened to chop him apart and eat him, and he started doing exactly that as he promised he could have kept going if not stopped by Anthony. But we seen him do that. We're seeing him take and actually capture the group. We're seeing him capture his brother and not doing nothing about it. The only thing he's not really held his word on is capturing Anthony and killing everybody else. But as we've seen, as he said, he's low on people. He's low on workers. Now him and his ultras get a kickback while he's going to work Samantha and the others to death is in his, as he'll name it, they're basically his, his workers, his prisoners, his slaves. They can't do nothing. They can't go nowhere. And we're going to see that majorly, that there's no corner for them to get out. Because David expects it. He expects somebody to try to escape. But we're going to see interesting stuff with that, though. But yeah, David is somebody to fear, and we're going to see it more, especially like you said. Episode 2. There is going to be something that, not that he does, but that he shows and threatens that, hey, you step out of line, this is it. And it's something that the show's not done yet, and I'm really excited to fool with it. It's something I'm most excited for out of this season than anything else. But anyhow, let's see. I want to go back to Nomar. So Nomar, are you there?
Yeah, I'm here.
Okay, so it's rumored that, of course, I've rumored it, that Josh, he's going to have a big arc in this second half of his own. Can you shed light, just without spoiling, can you shed light on to the fans of the story that,
I want to say that there will be a big arc, like you said, for him, but let's just say that this is actually one that might possibly change how people see him, but it's up to the people to see how they see him after this whole moment. It's up to them to see how they see them. They'll still see him as a good guy, or they'll see him as a bad guy. It doesn't matter how you see it. What you really have to do is just really get into it with an open mindset, which is what matters. You need an open mindset of things.
What about because we're gonna, I don't want to spoil it yet, because I'll spoil the trailer a little bit. So we'll wait, and I'm sure that Dan or Matt will probably end up asking the question that I'm about to ask, because it's not going to be something that nobody's going to wonder once seeing the trailer. So with that said, I'm actually going to go ahead and move on to, of course, the things I was supposed to be asked about, but I'll just go ahead and start talking about him here. So fans are probably shocked. I know everybody's still, probably not right at the moment, but everybody's going to start thinking about it again when I mention it. The death of Scott. I know there's a big shocker at the end of the episode, and I know everybody probably honestly thought something was only going to happen to Anthony, and that's how I originally intentioned it. And everybody's probably wondering, why was Scott chosen out of all people? I actually want to touch on that a little bit with something that was originally going to happen. Originally, Anthony was supposed to either die or get injured and be thought to be dead. And even there was a part where it happens somewhere else, and a version where it happens in the tunnel that everybody thinks he died with the explosion. But I decided to do the approach of, well, why not make him get hurt and you know David win by, or well, not win, but everybody think that they won because the Ultras trapped in the tunnel, no way out, they'll all die without oxygen. Because even David trapped in there, and as Scott said when he went back to the others, that there's no way out, we're safe. He wanted us to go home. This is why he did it. And I didn't want it to be like, well, because originally I was going to make it to where it did work. It did work. All the Ultras died, but David made it out. Anthony made it out somehow. But I didn't want to do it like that. I decided how to do it was, because then the group still kind of technically would have fully won. But I decided to, okay, trap Anthony, make them think they win. But while they're all celebrating and on their way home, David and the Ultras, of course, that's their camp. There was a secret passage in the tunnel that they went out of. They took Anthony out. Nobody got hurt. And David hit Anthony. David won. At the end of the episode, end of the day, our group didn't win. And that's what I wanted, because we've never seen that before. We've never seen them. We've seen them kind of lose, but not fully lose. And this time we did. David got what he wanted, everything he wanted. He lost all trust, but it happens in a fight. Every fight ends brutally. David lost some of his people, yeah, but he still won. He got his brother. He's got new workers. And the group has nothing. But I didn't want to end it with them just getting captured. That wasn't enough. That wouldn't, to me, I was thinking, well, this is a mid-season. Every character just now got their story wrapped in a way. Somebody's got to go. And I started trying to think, okay, who still has potential for their story? Who doesn't? Scott still had a little bit, but the way I looked at it, Samantha has too much. She has, I'm not going to, I killed a pregnant woman in season 2. I'm not killing another pregnant woman again. That'd just be repeating story. Didn't want to kill Samantha. She has way too much to go. She's the focus right now. Anthony's captured, hidden away. That's not enough for a mid-season. Josh still has a ton of story to go. Jim still does, because he's got a whole redemption arc coming. Doc, Nate, I forgot we haven't learned the other two's names yet, but we will in the second half. They're all getting their stories. They're just background. David killing them, oh well, it'd just be like, oh well, somebody just died. But Scott's story, he kind of has completed it. The way he tried to save Anthony, the way he sacrificed himself, was basically his full circle of redemption. That right there, because his redemption arc's still been going all the way up until his death. But what he did, knowing he was probably going to die, but did later, he completed his redemption. He completed his major show story. All he had left would be repeat story of, okay, protect the group, protect the group, protect the group. So, he was the character I was like, it'll be a shock. It'll be something to push our characters deeper down to, okay, this ain't just about getting out. We got somebody who needs avenged. Scott stepped up to David right there. And, honestly, he did it. He's not afraid to die. And, of course, he ended up getting killed. He was used as an example. But the reason I chose it is not only I knew it'd be shocking, but I didn't want to continue Scott's story to where he would go out in a pathetic way somewhere down the line, in a way that wouldn't matter. Because, in all honesty, if I would have waited till another moment for his death, it would have been expected at some point. But I tried to make fans think, okay, well, maybe Anthony being captured, all them being captured, maybe that, was the big shock. No. And it's sad, and I'm sad about it. I teared up a little when I actually watched the finished product. And watching Scott be killed and knowing, okay, this is it. Scott's gone. He's gone for good. He was a fan favorite, and honestly, it makes fans love to hate David even better. And that's going to make it okay. You're going to look at Samantha in this, in these episodes, Josh. You're going to look at everybody that gets around him and be like, take him out. And, you'll not be like, well, why ain't they taking him out here? It'll be more of an excited, it's coming. And as the promotional image I've released of the second half says, there will be no mercy. That was his last words. And trust me, those will reemerge. Those words are going to reemerge, and when they do, it's going to be such an epic moment. It doesn't mean that it's his death scene. It will emerge before it, but it is going to be laid out as a promise. And it's probably the driving point for the second half. Anyways, though, I'm going to move on and talk about something else for a second. As I've said, crazy stuff. It's in store. With how the first half was, and how much David scared some of everybody. Second half it ain't gonna be different. But I want to actually talk about something that everybody probably is kind of wondering. I can't talk about it fully, but I can talk about it a little bit. Anthony, where's he at? What's going to happen with him next? He isn't going to... Let me put it this way. Anthony being Anthony, everybody knowing how he is someone that can't be kept down for long. And everybody, I do want to say something too that should get everybody kind of stoked for what'll happen when he does come back. And everybody knows he will. Everybody obviously knows he ain't going to be trapped forever. If you remember, David said he was going to he was going to tell Anthony about Scott, and he did. Trust me, it's not going to be talked about how he did, but he did. And we're going to see an Anthony like never before when we see him again. It's going to be, if you remember his jacket was always a symbol of kill time a little bit, but we're going to see a super pissed off, basically Green Hawk Anthony. And it's mostly, you're going to see a lot of silence. He's not going to be talkative for a little bit when he comes back. It's the silence. Honestly, everybody's probably going to be scared of him, but an excited scared. His character is going to get a major development, and it's going to be a scary development when he comes back. There's not a lot I can say about him right now. I can't say where he is. Again, that was a question everybody's wondered, so of course I was going to state it. But I can't let you know where he is, but trust me, and the way he's going to get out, I'm going to tell you now, is not really because of him. It's not because of, Samantha. It's not because of David. The way he gets out, it's going to be like a surprise moment and a shocking moment. But it's going to be like trying to keep from using a lot of curse words, but it'll be more like a what the hell excitement moment when everybody sees him again. And I do want to go ahead and touch on it. In the intro of the second half, we are going to see if everybody's going to notice, because the hair on his head, Anthony's hair is unique. His new costume is badass. And if you'll have to go back and look in season 2 to dig for it, but a piece of his costume, you're going to recognize where it's from, and that's what's going to make you realize he is pissed off. But I'm actually going to move on from that and talk about, Jim. Everybody's wondering if he's probably going to stick around. Probably wondering if he's going to stick around. And of course, I've talked about he's getting a redemption arc. But mostly, everybody's probably going to wonder, is he going to stick with the group, or is he going to backslide? This time around, I'll go ahead and say, without fully saying it, there's a chance he will, but he's got redemption in mind. That is in his head this second half. He only ever sat with the altruist because he was safe. Because he was getting immunity. What else could he need? They could fight battles and win. We've seen that they can win battles. They don't have to worry about the plague. Of course, they don't eat a piece of flesh in the amount of time they catch. If they had the plague, they'll turn into a plague person. But he always felt safe. But the Vinewood Hills community, Doc, Nate, Josh, they were his family at some point, and now he's going to come to realize that. And in episode 8, with a conversation between him and Josh is going to open up and show, wow, he really is changing. He cares, like he did before, with what he says about himself, and it's more of self-care. That's his lack of self-care, and you'll know what I mean when you hear it from him. That will make fans. I have a feeling he'll become the new fan favorite with Scott gone. Jim is probably going to become new fan favorite with his story arc that he's getting. It's always redemption arcs that get it, though. Always. But I'm going to move on because there's not much I can talk about Jim because, of course, he's in a cell. There's not a lot I can say about him. But before we head to the next segment, I'm going to talk about this last thing. Everybody probably wonders, how long is it going to take to hit the fan in the second half? In many different ways, everything hits the fan as of episode 9. Not exactly with the community and David, but in another story arc. Stuff is going to hit the fan then. And then because of that, because of something else it leads to, not in episode 10, it'll be like an episode 9 story that'll not show in 10, but it'll appear back in episode, episode 11. Because of what happens in 9, it'll lead into 11, and then 11 will cause stuff to hit the fan for 12, and 12 leads into 13. It's all little things that are going to be happening together is going to all crash into one, and boom, everything's going to start hitting the fan episode 9. And a decision David makes with Josh, and Josh is going to have a task. That decision right there is what's mostly going to kick into the setup for that. So really episode 8 is basically the start of that. It's just, that's why the trailer's not going to show a lot. I wouldn't say no. Episode 8 and 9 is the only episodes in it, and only a little bit of episode 9, because episode 9 and on, too much spoiler to show anything. So as the season goes on, we'll show more trailers. But I'm going to get into the next segment real fast. So we're going to show the trailer. I've been talking about it a little bit just now. We're going to go ahead and show the trailer. I talked about it before I started this. And then we'll get into the next segment after it. But let's go ahead and show the trailer. This is season 5B trailer. Turns 9/26/22. Here it is. Welcome back to PlagueCon from the trailer, everybody. Hope everybody enjoyed it. Again, as I said earlier, there's not a lot in it. Couldn't put a lot in it because if every other scene that I could have put in it would have spoiled everything, and I don't want to spoil everything, not yet. I mean, of course, I'm never going to spoil it. Everybody's going to have to wait till the episodes come out weekly, starting the 26th, as you can see in the promo image, 9/26/22. I do want to talk about that promo image before I start asking or letting everybody ask questions, or Dan and Matt ask. Anyways, the promo image. This time around, unlike any other promo image in the past, it has meaning to it. And yes, it has Anthony in it. So everybody's probably wondering, well, if Anthony ain't in the second half a lot, then why is he in the promo image? When Scott died, he told David, when Anthony gets out, he will bestow upon you no mercy. And then, of course, even though, his last words were, there will be no mercy, as seen in the promo image. The blood red sky in the back. That image, I pulled a bunch of images off Google. A whole bunch of images. I pulled a red sky off Google. I pulled a desert off Google with the road. That desert road was normally a sunny sky with sunny desert and a city in the background. And then, I removed the sky, put the red sky, because the red sky symbolizes when Anthony gets out, and even before, there is going to be hell on earth unleashed in San Andreas. And there is going to be spin-offs, there's going to be movies in the future. Everybody knows that. That's not, that's nothing to hide. I've talked about it before. I'm just saying now, in a few of those stuff, and even in some books, it's going to start coming soon probably. Once this season, because nothing's going to come out until probably after the show's over anyways, I'll go ahead and say now I've had it planned that there's going to be something that some shows talk about, even that are halfway across the country. People are going to be referencing Battle at San Andreas, and it's actually going to be referring to this arc, this era that we're in, and you're going to see why it's referred to as that. It's not just because a few people are fighting each other. You'll see why, and it's a big reason why. But such a small thing that you can't tell how big it is yet, it's going to be big, and it's something the whole world's going to talk about. That is why that promo image, I can at least say all of that. That is what that promo image means. This season is going to go down in the show's history as, even it'll top next, because next season I have a different plan, but this will be the most hectic second half we have ever had. But with that said, I want to go ahead and, even though I introduced them earlier, I'm going to introduce them again because it's their time to shine and ask questions and get answers. So without further ado, Dans Reviews, MegaMatt, welcome to the speaking side of the PlagueCon now. As you can ask me, No More Rebel, any questions you want. Have at it. Are you guys ready?
Well, perfect. I do have one question to start off with, obviously, because, I think it'd be kind of weird if I didn't ask this question seeing the trailer that we saw. The special new character appearance of Dan. And I must add, too, I did catch your little reference in the trailer, too, of let's have a chit chat, which I thought was really clever as well, too. But I would love to ask, obviously, without spoiling it, obviously, because we have yet to see the episodes, what can you tease about this new Dan character coming up in the back half of the season?
This is the character I'm excited about. Yes, all the main ones, I'm excited for their arcs, but this new character, trying to think of how to say this. He is going to open our character's eyes. That's all I want to say. He's going to open our character's eyes because he will meet them. He's going to meet all of them. His story, pretty quick, you're going to figure out what his story, that exact episode, you're going to figure out what his main story is about. But I'll go ahead and say he's going to open all their eyes. And first, as you can see, he's with Josh. He's, he will run into Josh and everybody that's seen the synopsis. The synopsis have kind of changed since I released them in the official Undead 378 Discord. But as everybody's seen the synopsis, the 9th episode focuses on Josh meeting a new character. And of course, as you've seen, that character's, in homage to you, it's named Dan. He meets a guy named Dan. He's a mysterious character. I'll go ahead and say it right off the bat. He is mysterious. He is a very close-knit to the chest type guy that keeps everything under lock and key until he doesn't have to have it lock and key no more. He's going to not, whenever I say he's going to open the character's eyes, he's not only going to open their eyes, but I'm just going to say he's going to freshen the show up a little bit. There's not a lot I can say without spoiling it. Not a lot at all. And honestly, the question is the question I was honestly going to ask earlier about, but I didn't want to spoil the new character's name. Even though I've teased there would be new characters and new groups, I didn't want to give out names yet. I mean, I talked to you. I remember telling you, hey, there's going to be a Dan character. You're going to have a character dedicated to you. I plan a dedicated character to Matt also pretty soon. But that's the question I was going to ask, or not ask, but I was going to talk about that earlier. But I'm glad you actually asked that. But yeah, I can't say much. I can't say much about him. I can say he's going to be involved in a big part of their stories. I will say that. He's not going to be one of these stick around 1 or 2 episode characters. He is a cement. He's the cement to... He's the foundation of what's to come. I'll put it that way.
Awesome. Well, I mean, honestly, before I pass the torch to Matt and have him ask the next question, I'll just say, yeah, I'm looking forward to it. It's going to be cool to see a very new character. And I love what you say, like the whole, keeping secrets, not much revealed and stuff. So I love those kind of characters because you're always kind of keeping your eye on them. So that'll be cool to see for sure.
I do want to say something about that too, though, real fast. With him keeping stuff, everybody has a moment, and there's going to be a moment that there's going to be big revelations in episode 9, of course. But as I said earlier, I can actually talk about this now. His and Josh's story is what's going to expand from episode 9, and it'll skip 10. 10's going to focus on somebody else. But it'll skip to episode 11, and Dan, the character Dan, I will call him, whenever I'm saying Dan, I'll say Plague Dan. The motive he has, the motives he carries that we'll learn in episode 9, he'll truthfully, deeply go into why he has those motives in episode 11. And it's just a character that's new. He's going to have a lot of character development right off the bat that no character normally gets immediately. Almost, he has more than what Jim had, and Jim's character development come very quick. We learned a lot about his right off the bat, but we're going to learn some deep stuff on Plague Dan very quick. That's all I can say about Dan for now. That's all I can say about him.
Perfect.
Right on. Sounds like an interesting character. I guess my question I'll ask is, are we gonna actually see from Anthony's perspective, his journey through captivity, being held by these crazy cannibals, or in 5B? Are we gonna pick up after the whole captivity thing, and we're gonna see him out in the world again?
That is something I actually was hoping that one of you was going to ask. It was something I was originally going to touch on earlier, but didn't. Mostly because I didn't want to get into it to the end. But yes, we're not gonna. It's not gonna skip. We're not gonna see him out in the world yet. We're not ever like I said earlier. We're kind of gonna see how he gets out when we see him. But we are going. We're not immediately gonna see. What happened in the tunnel. What happened after the tunnel. We're gonna learn that about an episode after he comes back. He's going to reveal it, because he's going to be asked. Everybody's going to wonder, why, where, what happened, and it's going to be a kind of. If you think back to 504, when we seen Jim's thing, all the first part of the episode, then it skipped all the big stuff. That's how the episode that stuff revealed, that's how it's going to play out. He's going to reveal all that, and then big stuff happen after that. It's going to be like Jim's, how his flashbacks played out. We're going to see Anthony's. We're going to see the tunnel. We're going to see like how, if you remember, David talked about in the tunnel, he told Samantha the look on his face when he realized he failed. We're going to see that look, and I mean there's actually going to be a look on his face when he realizes, because David's going to I'll go ahead and say he's going to walk up and he's going to reveal there's a tunnel. It was useless. But he's going to be like, we're not going to go out there and go ahead and go kill Scott for it. And we're not going to go hunt down your friends. We're going to go to their community and wait on them. It's over. We won. They're mine now. And he's going to where he puts Anthony. And because he's not, I'm going to go ahead and say he's not going to be put somewhere easy to get out. Because where he's going to be, he's not being watched. Because obviously all the altruists have to be at the community, because Anthony's group is dangerous. David needs every altruist he has to contain them. Where he put Anthony is very smart, and it's going to connect to another few characters too. It's going to be like a web. And it'll kind of go into David's backstory a little bit of how he acquired where he was, but he's under lock and key. I'll go ahead and say he don't have to be watched where he is. Where he is, he's not getting out, and we're going to hear David mention it. There's no way he can get out. The only way he's getting out is if somebody gets in, and I'll go ahead and say now nobody's getting in, at least not immediately. But we're going to learn that, because I did think about it whenever I did it. I was like, okay, it's got to be revealed. I can't just be like, okay, Anthony's back, everybody, and everybody like, well, what happened? I couldn't just skip that. That's not something I'm going to spend like 10 minutes in the episode him having a conversation with somebody else about, whenever I could just show it and have the action of it. And like I said earlier, how I said that he told Anthony about Scott, we're going to see that too. And because we're going to see a depressed, talkative, wanting to fight back Anthony skip to a very quiet, pissed off, I'm going to kill you, Anthony. Similar to how we seen, not exactly, but in 204, whenever Scott killed all those people, and Anthony got pissed off and told him, I'm going to kill you for this. We're going to see that kind of Anthony, but a quiet, more of a calm, quiet, very promising. And it's going to be a very good scene. I don't want to spoil it fully, but to answer your question, yeah, we will see what happens. We're not going to skip past it. I keep on saying episode 9. I'm used to, for some reason, I'm used to season 3 where there were 16 episodes. Episode 8 will be the day after episode 7. And because it's going to start out with, as you guys seen at the beginning of the trailer, that little spot, that is Scott's grave. There is going to be a funeral, which David has a very pissy off reaction to it. But the episode, we start off a day after. We don't start off days after, or farther in to where Anthony's out, and this and that. But yeah, to answer your question without spoiling everything, no, we're going to learn about what happened with Anthony and where he is, how he got there, how he got out.
Okay, cool. Yeah, I'm really looking forward to it. Really looking forward to see the revenge he takes on the cannibals.
Absolutely. Honestly, yeah. So I do have a couple more questions. This one, this one right here is kind of it's something that we have to obviously always expect with every single season. This is kind of just a given with this show. But obviously, in the first half of season 5, one of the things that we saw the most of is, plague people galore, if you will. We saw that all the time. So I would love to hear, obviously, getting off of the first half of the season, how much of the plague people will we be getting in this? And obviously, without spoiling it, what can you tease about the plague people this season versus the first half?
I can go and say now, as you see in the trailer, that is the scene you seen in the trailer with Dan and Josh fighting plague people. That is, I believe, a 5-minute scene, a 5 straight minute. It's not like they're just machete to the head here, gunshot to the head here. No, it's everything goes to shit quickly, and it's not like a top of the line down to the bottom and then a straight line. It's more of a continuously downhill up until the last scene they have in the episode and farther. It don't even end there. It's plague people. It's a focus. I thought about that in the second half, and I was like, first half had it. Everybody loved it. The second half has to. And I'll go ahead and say, with the amount we see, you think how to imagine this. Imagine Anthony's house. You know how, I'm pretty sure everybody remembers, you've seen it before. It has you go down one set of stairs to one story and another set of stairs to another. Imagine the bottom floor being flooded to the roof of that floor. But it's not water. It's plague people blood. And then ask yourself, probably to the second floor, how many plague people that is. We are going to see a galore of it. I'll go ahead and say now because that's what the Ultras center around. They can use them to their advantage because they are immune. If they're immune, they can use them. They can touch them and not. If you're immune and you didn't have the plague before getting immune, like David, he didn't ever have the plague. He just ate flesh, become immune. He can touch a plague person, not get it, as long as he's immune. They won't fight him, nothing. They're going to use that to their advantage, and you're going to love it. That it's amped up about 10 times in the second half, and you'll get the idea of it a few episodes in, of how big a threat plague people actually are, because the Ultras themselves ain't like these militia groups. They are these hunters, and they use plague people as their trap. And we seen that with Jim. Jim used it as a trap for Anthony in episode 3. So yeah, to answer your question, there's a shit ton. There's going to be a whole lot of plague people, more than ever before, probably more than we've seen in the show put together so far.
Well, I'm glad to hear, because honestly, they were a big part of the first half. So, yeah, I'll pass the next question over to Matt.
Yeah, my next question is I'm actually really interested. I know you probably can't answer too much about this. We saw a group take Jim via helicopter in 504. And I was actually wondering if, at least in this season, if we're gonna see any more from that group, or if that is just done for season 5 as of now.
So obviously everybody can probably recognize them. Of course, you guys can. And fans that seen the original before the rewrite season 5 remembers the group, and But anyways, going back to season 4, the end of season 4, we seen that helicopter. That was the start of a tease of that story. Was the helicopter. And so now we're seeing more of it, as we seen, we seen in 504, we seen the helicopter again. We seen it too at the end of 503 was, David flying it, and everybody's like, well, how the hell does an Ultras get a helicopter if they're, and then of course we seen he took him out. And we're going to learn more about that. He has a few more little things from that whole interaction we're going to learn about in the second half. That helicopter wasn't the only thing. But anyways, as you've seen in the trailer, there was a black helicopter similar to what they had. Yes, they're not done for the season. We are going to see them again. And the way they come back is honestly a oh shit moment come back. And they're going to not exactly be a threat to them, but they're more of, if you get caught by these people, you are either possibly going to be dead or you're going with them. And we seen that with Jim. They tried to take Jim, but unfortunately failed when the Ultras snuck up. We're going to see them again, and possibly more than just once, because it's a storyline being slowly set up. Instead of how I do it every season, have a story quickly come in, because, again, at the end of last season, we seen David capture Scott. The story started, we actually started that story with David in episode 12. Because I remember it's the episode before PTSD, we seen him violate Samantha. That was the start of him looking for his brother. He left, came back. That story built up a little bit. Now this story with these new people built up from season 4, and it's going to start escalating here in the second half. So we're not done with them yet, and we're going to learn a lot more about them here in the second half. I'll say that now. They're not going to be a focus, and I can't say whether they'll come in for season 5 or not, but we're going to learn more about them here in the second half. Whether it leads to something big or something small, can't say. But no, to answer your question, as you see in the trailer, there's a helicopter, so we're going to see more of these people.
Okay, cool, awesome. Yeah, looking forward to it.
Absolutely. And well, I guess this will wrap my questions, at least, but this final one here, I definitely think this is I mean, any good story, obviously, when it comes a good story, it comes a good villain. And I guess this is going to be my final question I'll ask going into this half. What can you tease about David? Obviously, his villain side of things, his arc, and what can we expect from him going into the second half? Because obviously, let's be honest here, I think he just made a really, really big impact here in this mid-season finale. So, what can you kind of tease in terms of what he's going to do, and obviously, just his mannerisms and stuff, and I guess really just my curiosity of, without spoiling it, the direction of the character.
As I said earlier, I'm trying to remember. Oh, we're going to see a lot more of his what he will do attitude, and what he'll follow through with, and his threats. He's going to keep people on the edge of their seats. As you can see, there's an interaction with Samantha. There's an interaction with Josh. He's, in terms of what he's going to do, there is something that he is going to, I'm not going to say if he's going to or not going to do it to Samantha, but as in, as you've seen, he's holding a gun. But there's going to be a scene that we've not seen any other character ever attempt to, pull before. And it's honestly going to be a scary, it's not necessarily a scary type, bloody type deal, but it's more of a scary, like, is he going to push that far? Is he going to try to break these characters in certain ways that he knows will actually break them. And I don't want to say much about it, but we're going to see him push a lot of stuff in this second half with people, and a lot of moments to where he goes on about threats, and a few times that he actually is going to go to complete these threats. So whenever he makes a threat in the second half, be scared, because half these threats he makes, he's going to try to follow on. I can't say which ones, but some of them he's going to try to follow, and they're scary threats if you watch what he says. The things he's going to do is going to be messed up. Same as the first half. He done messed up things. He ate a foot in front of Samantha, off Scott, in front of everybody. That messed up times 2 in this second half. And there's going to be times, like, we're going to see a development with his character on his mission. Again, I can't go into what his mission is now, but you'll learn it again. It ain't exactly like it was before, but his mission's going to change. And when it does, honestly, everybody's going to be on the edge of their seats for the remainder of the episodes after, to the point that all of you are going to know there's nobody safe anymore. When his mission changes, it's over. Everybody is. I can't even say that half of everybody doesn't die or does die. But what we've seen in the first half, expect more of with his character in the second half times 2. Everything he done in the first, expect it in the second, but more impact and more brutally. Not exactly. I'm going to go ahead and say we're not going to see him eat somebody alive. And again, I don't want to repeat that again. We're not going to see him chop somebody's arm off and eat it, or somebody else's foot off and eat it. But there's going to be some messed up things he does. He's going to make himself more of a I love to hate this guy character in the second half.
Yeah.
Cool.
Awesome. And well, that's about it for my questions. I'll leave any other questions or things that Matt has to say. And yeah, thanks for answering.
Yeah, and I guess my last question will be obviously with the death of Scott happening now, and with that major thing going down, and the Anthony character, he's lost a lot of allies now. He don't really have much left after what this group has done. Like I know you can't probably say too much about this, but will we see more people join our group? Will we see more allies join Anthony's side in this half season?
With Anthony away, it's up to Samantha and her group to attempt to build allies. And I'll go ahead and say now, as I said earlier, the group can't get out, but there's going to be a way that they build allies. But they are going to. I have teased there's going to be a new group. It ain't I'll go and tell you now, it ain't the people in the helicopters. That ain't the new group that we're going to be seeing. We're going to see more of those people, yeah, but as in new group, we are going to see a new civilized group. And I'll go ahead and say their names because it ain't going to reveal much about them. They're going to be called, we're going to meet the New Englanders. No, it ain't like this fancy set of people, but you'll see why they call themselves that. They will reveal it, but we're going to see them hop in, and they're going to be a major part of certain things that happens up in the second half. So, yeah, we're going to see more allies join. Again, it ain't necessarily because of Scott's death. That don't necessarily change, it didn't make me think, hey, I need new characters, Scott's gone. It's more of a we need new characters thing. It ain't mostly because of that. Yeah, we lost a big ally losing Scott. Ain't nobody ever going to be able to replace him, though. But the new group is mostly, the show needs it. It needs new faces. It needs a new ideology in it other than our characters or the villains, because every other, ally group has been killed off. Jack's people was hung. The military group, they was killed back in season 3 when we seen the flashback of how that happened. Josh's people got killed. All the allies we've ever had are dead. They're all gone. It ain't gonna be the case. We ain't gonna fully see a full-blown wipeout again. I'm gonna go ahead and say it now. I ain't gonna repeat that. This group coming around, they're gonna be a vocal point going forward when they make their introduction. And an interesting fact is who they make it through. There's ties to a certain person, and it's going to be the drive-in of why they help our group. But we are going to meet, we are within the first few episodes, we are going to meet an entirely new group of people, and I think everybody will seem to enjoy them quite well, especially their leader, in which they call the Queen. Everybody's going to love that character.
Okay, cool, awesome. Can't wait, man.
So, with that said, is there any other questions from you two? Anything you can think of? I know Dan said he wrapped up, but what about you, Matt? Any other than that?
I think that's it for me. Yeah, that's really all I got.
Okay. With that said, I'm glad you guys had questions, because honestly, some of them you guys thought of. I thought about adding to the first segment, but figured you guys want to ask some stuff, and of course I wanted you guys here. You guys were a key point in the first half. You guys were co-writers along with Rebel Tea Time, and Nomar was supposed to help me write, but he wasn't available. But you guys did help out, and so I figured, plus you guys are super fans. You guys have been here for so long. Dan used to review the show. I know you reviewed some of it a little bit. And besides that point, you guys have stuck to every episode, good and bad. Have watched through all of them and not gave up on watching the show. So, of course, super fans. I wish Cade would have been able to be here. I did learn of his leave from the showrunner community due to his life. He had things that he wanted to go do. And, of course, I congratulate him for that on Instagram, same as you guys did. All of you guys have good shows, really good shows, and it's good to see that the one that he envisioned gets to keep going, which is Wasteland World. But I wish he could have been here, but he has same as all of us.
We'll definitely pass along the message as well, because I'm sure he'll definitely love to hear about all this new information about the plague as well. So,
yep.
But I'm glad you guys had questions. I'm glad I was able to answer them. I'm glad you guys are satisfied with it. With that said, we are going to go into the 5th segment. As I stated earlier, Royal Xmc, he never really got a proper send-off from the show. I talked about him multiple times over the past few years of his legacy of the show. He was the first actor in the show with me as Corey. He brought life to Scott, and he played Scott in Season 2 and some of Season 3. And some of the original Season 4, he played, the uncanon Season 4, he played some of Scott in that. So he brought life and kept life for so long as he could, until it got handed over to son Drew, in which unfortunately has now left the cast too. But Scott's gone, and I figured it would be time to give Royal Xmc his send-off, as that was his final surviving character in the show. So he was asked some questions. I had somebody send him some questions for me, and he gave some answers, as in some statements he wanted to give to the crew, you fans. He directed them for everybody, and so we're going to dedicate an entire segment to Royal Xmc, everybody. Let's see here. So, the first question he was asked was, looking back, Scott's character is 4.5 years old. Not, as age, but show-wise, he's been on the show for 4.5 years. And then he was asked, even though you only played the character Season 2 and part of Season 3, some of the original season 4. What was your favorite thing about the character? His answer was, my favorite thing about Scott was his design. I loved the way Undead made the character and presented him. The wooden mask and dark clothing just spoke to me. And so his second question was, Scott is known as the enemy, the second question he was asked, not his second question. Scott is known as the enemy who redeemed himself, becoming an important part of Anthony's group from Season 3 to Season 5. What do you think Scott probably regretted till his death that he wished he could have taken back the most? Royal Xmc's response to that was, I think Scott regretted the person he used to be. He was so evil in Season 2, I think him losing the war was what helped him become a lovable character. And it's also what started his redemption arc. Third question he was asked was, now that your last character you ever acted as in the show has ended his journey from Season 2, Episode 1 to Season 5, Episode 7, how do you feel knowing a character that you brought to life, to cherish by many fans, is now dead? His answer was, it's honestly really sad. I loved the character and the person he became. Seeing him die was like a hit to the heart. I wasn't ready, and I'm sure fans weren't either. And no, fans weren't. And of course he wasn't. Fourth question he was asked was second to last question. How does it feel knowing that your tenure with the series is finally fully over after 5 years, as you were a Season 1 original actor because of the role of Corey? How do you feel knowing after 5 years the show is now behind you? And how has the show affected your life going forward? His response was, it makes me sad. I've had such a great time filming, and to be a part of this series for so long is just crazy. Going forward, the show has helped me make so many friends and memories I'll always remember. The filming sessions and the fun we had, and just off the show in general. His fifth and final question he was asked was, now last question. What do you have to say to the cast still remaining, especially the man you co-starred with all the way back in Episode 1, Anthony Rauch? His response was, I thank you all for being such nice and generous people. It was an honor working alongside you all. Anthony, the show you have made is amazing, and being a part of it was one of the best moments in my life. Thank you for letting me play such amazing roles. Thus wrapping up the statements and the final statements ever to be made in the main series from Royal Xmc. And with that said, if you are watching this, Royal, I'm sure everybody here feels the same. If it wasn't for you joining the show to play Corey, I do not think the show would be where it is now. If you would not have accepted the role of that, then more than likely there wouldn't have been a Corey. And without a Corey, there wouldn't have been an Andy, there wouldn't have been a Scott, there wouldn't have been anybody else. We would have seen an entirely different journey. Thanks to you playing Corey, you brought new characters in. And then thanks to you playing Scott, you coming up with the idea of that character, we met so many people, and we seen a character like him, somebody that was a foul scum, redeem himself in the most way that every fan enjoyed. And I cannot say that is thanks to me, because without an actor there is no character. If you wouldn't have played Scott, then the fans that are here now probably would not be here. And I have a feeling everybody feels the same. So with that said, we all appreciate the time you gave to the show. And it's sad to know that you'll never be returning, now that Scott's gone, because I know you said you would never return as another character unless it was Scott. But now with him being gone, knowing you're not coming back to the main series ever, it was a pleasure to work beside you whenever I did. And I sure Nomar and Rebel feel the same way, and I'm sure that Dan and Matt appreciate the dedication you gave to this show as an actor and the entertainment that you gave all of them and even us. Thank you, Royal Xmc. So, with all of that said, we are now at the final segment of PlagueCon 2022 Part 2. And we won't be back again until, I about said season 23. We won't be back until 2023 in February or January for PlagueCon 2023 Part 1. So, on to the last segment, which is the announcements. So, I want to go ahead and start off with the first announcement. It is based off of something, it's before the big announcement, but it's based off of something that I talked about before Season 5 come out. There was an original Season 5, and it got scrapped, and a rewrite was brought in to satisfy the fans who liked the original Season 4 with its original ending. I said that the Season 5 rewrite would happen and the show would continue for possibly, a few more seasons after. But to satisfy fans who liked the original Season 4, I said that it would become canon to the series as a movie. It would be titled The Plague, Anthony's Dream. And it would have a start off as Anthony talking to his group about how he had this dream of all this stuff that happened, and then he's going to share it to him. That's how the movie's going to happen. And the original Season 4, the one with the original ninjas, Josh originally being a ninja, all that is going to be the movie focus. But because of some things that happened in Season 5, I decided that, and this is the whole reason it didn't ever end up coming out before Season 5 or even a little bit after, is because I decided it would make more sense after Season 5 for the movie to come out. So that movie is coming. Of course, the trailer for the original season is out there, but it will be morphed into a new trailer involving the first part of it, the second part of that season, because there will be a movie to show all of the footage from main to end. A trailer will be released next month or the month after. I just don't want to release a trailer too early and then it be forever until it comes out. Actually, Season 5 after it's over to come out. So I'll go ahead and say now it'll be out by January. But the trailer will come out either next month or, no matter what, it'll come out next month. Probably right before the show returns. Maybe the night of the first episode. But the trailer will be released for that, and we'll see that movie in January of 2023. And then from that announcement to the next. Scott's character was killed in the show. Everybody knows that. We've talked about it all PlagueCon. Still shocking, but he's gone. But I'm sure fans have always wondered, well, what about, how did he get to the Paleto Bay community? How did he become a leader? How did he become somebody who wanted to kill anybody in his way? And then what happened in the 2 years between the end of Season 2 and the beginning of Season 3 with his character? Because as we know, 2-year time skip. The 2-year time skip happened at the end of the season with Anthony taking over Scott's community and having John send Scott to the city. They didn't see Scott again for 2 years. Anthony met him at Victor's camp. And we learned a little bit how he ended up there, but we don't know what he did for 2 years. That is where I am announcing there is going to be 2 movies based on Scott, and they'll be called The Plague, The Story of Scott. It'll be a Part 1 movie and a Part 2. Part 1 will focus on his journey leading up to him becoming a leader at the Paleto Bay community. And then the Part 2 movie is going to focus on the 2 years that we didn't know what the hell he did before we see him at Victor's camp. So yes, his character's over in the show, but his story never fully, his story was wrapped, but pieces of his story are missing. Those are the pieces missing that once those are released, his story will be wrapped up. Part 1 will not come out anytime soon. I'll go ahead and say that. Part 1 will not come out until sometime between June of 2023. Well, sometime between May of 2023 to August of 2023 or September 2023. But we will see it in between then, so it's going to be a summer movie, so I'll go ahead and say now it'll be out in the summer, and then we won't see part 2 until winter, so, or well, technically fall, because December, for some reason they call it fall, but sometime between November and December we'll see part 2 wrapping up Scott's missing pieces of his story fully. But that is the announcements that I wanted to make. There's also another announcement that has to do with that. Not anybody knows this, but recently I joined back into something that Dan, Matt, and Cade all formed together, the showrunner community. It's been in talks of, I was planning on bringing something of the plague that way without, giving something to it, letting it go from me, but more of a partnership of some sorts. There is a series that it's going to be a limited series. It's not going to be a big, huge spin-off series. It's going to be, I forgot what it was called. Oh, no, I remember now. I was going to title it The Plague, the Anthology Series. And no, anthology not being about Anthony, anthology being an anthology is a bunch of stories combined. What I wanted to do, we're going to see backstories of characters like Samantha, characters like David, characters like even backstory characters, main characters. It's not going to be new people, but it's more of, because we don't have time in the show to wrap up the surviving characters' backstories, main series, and I don't want to form a bunch of different spin-offs off that. So instead, it'll be an anthology series of every character we've ever seen, no new ones. I mean, we'll see new characters we haven't seen that was involved with them in that. Probably most of them die, but we're going to see backstories of people like Andy, people like Scott, people like John. Everybody's backstory that we never learned in vision-wise. There will be an anthology series, and that is more than likely going to be the first partnership of the franchise with another community. And that is where I was going to partner that with that. I've been in talks with Matt and Dan about it, about, not trying to, like the main series, trying to partner it there, but to bring something fresh and partner it there. And so that is where the announcement is coming, that the Plague will be merging into a partnership, a piece of the franchise, which will be an anthology series, will be merging, which basically means that, information here is also going to be there, and just there's a bunch more terms to it, I guess, that's just will be worked out. It won't come out anytime soon. That'll be another thing that'll be a while. It'll more than likely be around the time of the first Scott movie that we see it come out, because it's going to be written. It's going to, I'm going to see about original actors coming back for him and stuff like that. Yeah, those are the 3 announcements that I wanted to make at PlagueCon. With that said, and this goes for Dan, Matt, Nomar, Rebel, does anybody have any type of questions they'd like to ask about anything that was announced?
No.
Go ahead.
I mean, I got nothing. I'm actually hyped to be a part of this and potentially see how it goes further. And I want to see how it's going to go from here. I want to see how it's going to go.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to the new spin-off series, so I'm excited to see where it goes.
Absolutely. And I'm looking forward to seeing, in particular the Scott films. That's going to be something that's really cool, getting to see the character back again. For a time there, I wasn't exactly sure if we would ever see anything from him again, so I'm glad that you're giving the fans something extra there. I think that's really cool, and yeah, these are great announcements.
Yep, very good announcements. It's also great to have a part of the plague on board with the showrunner community now as well.
Mm-hmm.
That's what I
That
tried
indeed.
looking at recently is in whenever I joined back trying to bring a partnership. Is in trying to, because I know whenever it started, back when it was just a little Discord chat, back then, I looked at it as, hey, this is part of showrunner community, and then I never really pitched in anything to it. I always stayed on my own, and then I figured it's about time to not just be on my own. It's time to make a partnership somewhere, but do it with something new instead of something that's being done, but instead something new. So I figured an anthology series. But the anthology series I've been thinking of for a while before that, but it's what I would love to see partnered up is that type of thing. And I'm glad to announce it here, even kind of, it's really kind of a shout out too to it because you guys have formed such a great community. I was looking today at the list. I was in Dan's Discord server, and I was down there at the bottom where he has that section of showrunners community. And I see all this stuff in there, and that's all because of the community that you guys and Cade Woody created. And it's become something that I'm not saying that you guys, I didn't ever think you couldn't do it, but something that I've never seen anybody really be able to pull off as a small, tiny group. All these big ideas of stuff and actually do it. Like you got the Sorrowful Life, Road Rats, you got Dan's World Gone Mad, you got History of World Gone Mad coming, you got Survival of the Fittest. You guys have done all this stuff. I remember back when the time was that you guys were looking at me and saying I was an inspiration. But now I'm looking at you and saying that you guys are an inspiration to me. You guys have become, students become the masters because of all this stuff you guys have been able to do. I mean, unfortunately, I ain't able to do much because, I got a kid on the way. I've got a family, I've got a job, but you guys have lives too. And seeing how you guys can go around that and still do all this amazing stuff is an inspiration to me, and I'm sure to many others, many others. And that's so I kind of at the same time as this being an announcement segment, I wanted it to be a dedication segment to you guys as well because you guys deserve it. You guys have come far in the few years that you have been doing all this.
And you guys have been very outstanding on what you guys do. It's incredible. I
Man,
enjoy watching.
well, honestly, we couldn't appreciate it more. I mean, like you just said, too, it started as, I mean, such a small organization at first, and honestly, if we're being fully honest here, we didn't expect it to grow as big as it did, and honestly, we're grateful every day for it, and honestly, we're grateful to have you on board, and honestly, this is, if anything, hard to believe this is just the beginning. So, yeah, this is the beginning of many, many things, and I'm looking forward to what comes next.
Most definitely.
And also,
Agreed. I'm actually ready to see what's in the future. Even though I admit I may be away most of the year now since I'm like in and out of stuff because of life. I'm always ready to see like what's going to be the next big phase of like this big, potentially big company that could potentially like be something even bigger like than what we originally thought it would be. It would be like something even bigger than us.
Yeah, for sure.
I just want to say I appreciate you, AJ. We both from the Gaming Weekly and you and of course Yellow. You I know I've helped with a lot with being an actor and filming as well. So, it's um, exciting to work with you on such projects as the Plague is. So, thank you for having me aboard on the Plague.
Hey man, like I never expected this opportunity. At first, I thought it would be like it would just be like a one-time thing and stuff. But like then, you got me ideally inspired to like screw this. I'm just gonna do this. And I admit, I had a lot of fun. Like I would not have met a lot of my friends. I wouldn't have even met Rebel, and like hung out with you guys. Even though most of the time you guys drive me insane, but you do it in a good way.
You drive me insane.
We drive each other insane, man. All of us.
I really appreciate that
Enough
from you guys.
Kakarot.
And just like Dan and Matt, I appreciate all this dedication as fans you guys have given to the series over the past 5 years that it has been around. And I'd like to thank everybody here, and especially I'd like to thank everybody for coming to PlagueCon, and I'm sure all the other fans that are watching are happy too to see all of this. And but we gotta cut it short because we already got 2 hours worth of film. Um, with that said, thank you guys for joining, all of you, and for all you fans out there watching. I hope everybody's excited. I hope everybody's ready because the 26th, Hell's Gates are going to open back up, and we're going to
Yeah.
get on top of the fire. So,
Can't wait.
hope everybody's ready, and I guess on the 26th, we'll see